Sawadee good evening. Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. Tonight you're with me, Rungtip Chonapalai. Today people across Thailand are rejoicing the celebration of Buddhist Lent starting today. The year's highlights, as usual, is the candle festival held in the northeastern city of Ubon Ratchathani, featuring a grand parade of beeswax candles intricately carved by local artisans, as well as a series of shows and activities. The event is expected to draw a huge number of tourists and bring in revenue of about 20 million baht.
The candle processions have been arranged nationwide today to celebrate the beginning of Buddhist Lent, also known as the Rains Retreat, or a period in which all monks have to remain within temple grounds, devoting themselves to study and meditation. This annual celebration of faith lasts for 3 months. This year, local craftsmen from Ubon, whose spectacular event is particularly well known, carved and decorated magnificent candles into various figures, retelling the Lord Buddha's first sermon. At the Ubon National Museum, there's also an exhibition of candle carvings by 9 international artists. Most of the works depict each artist's country and culture. Meanwhile, sculptors and locals in Nakhon Ratchasima have joined a competition in which they carved candles with an emphasis on the life of Lord Buddha, and even a few in the likeness of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen, to honour the royal family. Initially, the artists had planned to mock politics, but after receiving some criticism, they decided otherwise. Apart from other essential supplies, such as towels and dry foodstuffs, Thai Buddhists make an enormous candle and offer this to facilitate the monks' religious activities during the night hours throughout the season. Some of them believe also that through this philanthropy, merit makers will be blessed with wisdom and a future as bright as the candlelight. Candles then have become a symbol of Buddhist Lent, which reflects the close links between local customs and religious belief in Thailand. During the season, Cambodians usually go to the pagoda to pray for their dead relatives and the spirit of an unhappy ghost. However, people along the Thai-Cambodian border are celebrating the holiday together, regardless of nationality and some cultural differences. Hugh Adams, Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kun Hugh. In less than 3 years, the Asean Economic Community will be established based on 3 important foundations: socio-cultural, economic and security, for an ever more connected and self-sustainable region. Yet, many express doubt about ASEAN's ability to achieve these lofty ambitions, as even much larger and more established international organizations like the United Nations face profound criticisms over their lack of good governance. But ASEAN could develop well if it learns from UN's mistakes. Here's more from Kun Bandit Gert Bandit.
The United Nations, or UN, was founded almost 70 years ago, with a membership of more than 190 states. The UN plays a prominent role in today's major international issues. Despite its long history and prestige, the UN faces constant criticism for poor management and lack of good governance.
For the last 20 years or more, the United Nations has had a zero budget growth policy. Zero growth in budget. So when the demands on the UN are growing, the capacity of the UN to deliver is diminishing.
Kishore, who once was the president of the UN Security Council, noted that management positions in international organizations have long been in the hands of the West. These Western countries, which constitute some of the biggest donors, believe that their interests are better served if multilateral institutions are weakened by squeezing their budgets and restraining their capacity to overshadow Western powers. Additionally, Kishore has reprimanded the work of UN for lacking accountability.
But as you know, in 1994, even though the UN was given warnings that a genocide was about to break out in Rwanda, the UN Security Council did nothing. And by doing nothing, 800,000 people died in Rwanda.
Locally, our own international organization, ASEAN, with lesser leverage than the UN, also shows clear signs of poor governance and a lack of transparency.
I believe that ASEAN has a big problem with disseminating information. A lot of research has been done on the progress of the AEC, as well as the challenges like non-tariff barriers. A significant amount of money has been poured into such projects, but this information has never been disclosed to the public.
The ASEAN Secretary General has observed that ASEAN leaders make a lot of agreements. They hold meetings in their thousands each year. But when real work has to be done, ASEAN Secretary General Suwin Pitsuwan said that only about 30% is completed. This will become a problem after the ASEAN Economic Community is formed, because a 30% achievement rate is not enough.
Panitan also suggested that ASEAN has to incorporate more public voice in their decision-making process so that their actions are transparent and representative of the actual needs of ASEAN citizens.
Accessibility, accountability, dissemination of information and exchange of ideas in ASEAN are still very bureaucratic. The current structure takes the form of leaders to citizens, but there should be more citizens to leaders as well. So there are mutual exchanges, not just from the top down, but also from the bottom up.
Kishore has compared the globalized relationship between countries to hundreds of cabins on the same cruise liner. Good governance in international organizations is therefore vital when attempting to lead countries out of crisis. ASEAN has to be more accountable and transparent, and Panitan stressed that achieving good governance is one of the main challenges facing the next ASEAN Secretary General. Bandit Ket Bandit, Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kun Bandit. Being able to speak a foreign language can help understand the mindset of others and bring us closer together. Western languages are popular among the young generation in ASEAN, but we are about to meet Patrick Ong, a Singaporean with Thai heart, who loves Thailand and say he is happy to have Thainess in his heart and soul. Walking through the streets of Singapore, one can easily feel its multiculturalism as the island has become more hybridized, reflected in its culture, nationalities, and languages. Official languages in Singapore include English, Mandarin Chinese, Malay, and Tamil. As far as language is concerned, Associate Professor Thittima Suthiwan, a language scholar at the National University of Singapore or NUS, points out that despite cultural proximity, languages of neighboring countries in ASEAN are not as popular as Japanese or Western languages like French or German. The young generation here has a tendency to pay more attention to what matters in the West rather than in Asia.
Now at NUS, we have more than 200 students learning Thai compared to 10 years ago, when we had only 10 or 20 students. We can say that we are successful at promoting ASEAN language, but still the number of students is not stable. More students learn Thai because of fashion and pop culture.
However, Associate Professor Thittima says that Patrick Ong was one of her outstanding students majoring in Thai studies at NUS. Patrick, now an officer with the Immigration Checkpoints Authority of Singapore and a well-known model in various commercials, said that he is happy to have Thainess in his heart and soul, and he adores how Thai people love their king.
And when I studied Thai, I was open to the hearts and soul and the mind of the Thai people, and especially so when I studied in Nariswan University for an exchange program. There I stayed with a Thai family. Yeah, and you know, every day I woke up I speak Thai. Before I slept I speak Thai. So that was like the happiest moment in my life.
And you dream in Thai?
Dream in Thai, I guess so, sometimes. I mean, I've never seen so much love of one's country as compared to, you know, when I was as compared to living in Singapore. I mean, sure, in Singapore we've got, you know, our National Day, we sing our National Day songs, but that level of, you know, love for one's country is so obvious, is so striking among my Thai friends, among the Thai people. You know, everybody, you know, in Thailand loves the king, they love the country. I mean, I wish I could say the same for Singapore, but I can't.
Patrick was introduced to Buddhism and its philosophy at a young age by his grandfather, who has a profound belief in the venerable Thai monk Sot of Pak Nam Temple. His master's thesis at Chulalongkorn University focused on the ancient techniques of Thai meditation. He meditates occasionally and finds this helps to balance his hectic working life in Singapore. Although Patrick initially learned Thai for his own personal development, this has gradually opened doors for career opportunities.
As we're moving towards ASEAN Economic Community in 2015, I think that what you've studied and your experience would be useful for this.
They're recognizing my ability to speak Thai, and I'm actually, you know, helping to establish relationships with the Thai immigration counterparts. So I think it's good that civil service is actually employing people who can speak the regional language in ASEAN. So that helps in establishing the move forward for ASEAN. I think in order for ASEAN to move together as a whole, there should be people in the community who can speak the languages, because language is very important. Yeah, to understand the mentality, the mindset of the people in the other ASEAN countries, you must first understand the language and speak the language.
Although English is widely spoken within ASEAN, understanding the languages and cultures of our neighboring countries will not only broaden our horizons, but also strengthen friendship and bring us ASEAN citizens closer than ever. If you are planning a trip to London in the near future, you may want to visit the Olympic Park, the 2.5 square kilometer area where, in addition to sports arena and the Olympic Village, visitors can view artwork, shop, eat and enjoy the English summer.
Around the Olympic Park, visitors will see children of all ages running around and taking photos of the Olympic mascot, Wenlock. In different areas of the 2.5 square kilometer park, visitors can get drinks and snacks, some of which are a little different from where Thai somtam stands at home. This olive stand, for example, sells olives stuffed with garlic or a variety of other fillings difficult to find in Thailand. This olive is stuffed with a whole chili pepper. Let's see how it'll taste. It's an unusual flavor, but I'm glad it's got chili in it. That spicy flavor really hits the spot. Visitors to the Olympic Park can buy a variety pack of these olives for 4.5 pounds, or about 200 baht. You get just enough for a small olive party. Besides watching the sporting events, visitors can shop, enjoy art displays, or walk in the gardens, which are usually breezy and very lush, thanks to the 3 rivers surrounding the area. But perhaps the most fascinating attraction is the Orbit, a 115-meter high tower that is also Britain's tallest art display.
สถาปัตยกรรมที่ตั้งตระหง่านอยู่ด้านหลังดิฉันนี้นะคะเรียกกันว่า Orbit ค่ะ
You can see all of London from this tower, and there are 2 ways to go up. If you go up by elevator, you have to pay about 16 pounds for a ticket. But if you're not too keen on that, you can always climb the steps. There are only 400 of them. It is an excellent opportunity for a mini workout, and you are rewarded with a gorgeous view at the top. Officials say that visitors can walk around the Olympic Park in only half an hour, but with so many attractions and people in the area, a good visit can easily take at least half a day. It's half a day sure to be well spent.
Well, here at ThaiPBS News, we have new job opportunities for English language reporters for the English News Service. To find more details, please visit the ThaiPBS website. And if you are interested, send your resume to us at job@thaipbs.or.th. And that wraps up today's edition of ThaiPBS English News Service. Thank you for watching. I'm Rung Tip Chonapalai. Have a good night. สวัสดีค่ะ